All right, we are live. Everybody, welcome, welcome. We are coming close to Christmas break, and we have a few more guests to squeeze in before I take a little bit of time off from my lives here for the holidays. Today, I have with me Steve Janke. He is of Mission, Wisconsin, and he's going to talk today about how he serves the military community way up there in the North Midwest part of the U.S. and beyond. Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Mission, Wisconsin and what you do there?
Well, Jamie, I'm really happy to be here. And what Mission, Wisconsin does is it helps connect those employers that want to build candidate pipelines to the military community by helping the military community transition successfully. So we provide services for military spouses, veterans, and transitioning service members, transition coaching. We help you find your next mission, whether it's in Wisconsin or anywhere else in the United States.
And he goes all over the place, usually, whenever the world is traveling. And I met Steve over in Germany whenever I was stationed over there living. And then whenever we go back to the traveling, he's going to be all over the place, I'm sure. So can you tell us a little bit what you do when you visit all of these different military installations and how you represent the military community, how you interact with job seekers and all of that?
Yeah, ultimately it's about understanding that 60% of the workforce is not going to work for a Fortune 500 company. So it's about being able to connect to those companies that you're probably going to end up working for when you transition out, and then building that pipeline and that network long before you need the water. So helping that military spouse identify, a good location with a low cost of living. But then the key piece of transition is not often employment, because employment's going to happen anyway, right? And transition doesn't stop. Like if you don't get a job, you can't say, hey, wait, I can't transition yet. So the most important piece is often the location and how are you connecting to that location, right? Are you building your networks already? We talk a lot about networking when we get out for the professional side, but we don't often talk about engaging our communities where we're going to be. So even if you're going back home, you realize that you've changed, but oftentimes the only thing that has changed where you're from is the seasons. So how are you connecting back to that community? And we help provide pathways for you to do that.
And so in general, when you're transitioning, choosing a location is a big deal, right? So let's sell us a little bit on Wisconsin and the part of the country that you're in. It's a lot of the time it's forgotten about. It's cold, it's up north, and just people don't think of it. They think of all the other places that there are to go. So tell us a little bit about Wisconsin and why it's a great place for military families to consider in a transition period of their life.
Well, it might have been 30th to the Union in 1848, but it's soon to be number one in your heart. Wisconsin leads the nation in veterans benefits with 23 of 26 as recognized by the National Association of Directors and VA Secretaries. What that really means for you is that there is a community here in Wisconsin that wants to support you, that generally our values in Wisconsin, we're a hard Midwestern state, right? We work hard, we play hard, we enjoy life, but we are also humble and we show up for those around us. And that resonates with the military community because as you're leaving the most supported community in the world, you want to find your next tribe. And it's easier to do here in Wisconsin, just because we don't have a large active duty population. So when you come here as a veteran, when they say thank you for your service, they mean thank you for your service. And Jamie did say that we have winters, absolutely. Like California has earthquakes, Florida has hurricanes, Texas has Texans. Every state has its problems, right? Like we understand, but ultimately, we think we're a solid value proposition for any military family that wants to make Wisconsin their home. We're more than willing to help them make that connection.
That's awesome, and I, would never think of Wisconsin, as the first place to try to, put on my retirement checklist for when we end up separating as a military family. But it does have a lot of really great things. It's got a pretty low cost of living and apparently a wonderful community I know nothing about. So it sounds like a great place to be. But you serve military families all over the place. Can
Yes.
you talk a little, I know you're Mission Wisconsin, but can you talk a little bit about how you help people connect in general with careers, no matter where they want to go?
Well, what we do is we provide the hardest thing to identify when you're told that you can do anything is what that anything is. So as you're leaving the military, right? Even as you're a military spouse, the world is your oyster, right? There's so many things you could do, but the hardest part of that initial conversation is, what do you want to do? So what we talk about oftentimes is, what don't you want to do? It's always easier to identify the negative and move from there. So if you say, do you know what I never want to do again, is I never want to do another PowerPoint, because like in the military, all I've done is PowerPoints. My husband's done PowerPoints. My spouse has done PowerPoints. So I never want to see another PowerPoint. Okay, now we've identified something that you don't want to do for your career. So we're probably going to take human resources out of it, right? Like, you're probably not going to go to that. But we have those conversations. And then we also talk about, things that you're good at, that you have relevant skills in, and how that applies to the civilian world. And then from there, we have a conversation about, location matters. Do you want to be close to your family, or are they like fish to you, where they're only around for 3 days and then you got to get rid of them? And really, it's just building a relationship around your transition and making sure that you have a sounding board for the best ideas that you have, and then helping you connect with whatever that is.
Awesome. So if you're watching, even if it's later, and you have questions for Steve about what he does and how he serves and helps the military community, drop in the comments and ask your questions, and I'll make sure that even if it's not during our live, that Steve gets a hold of it and can answer it for you. Also, if you're here visiting, just drop a like and a comment and let us know that you're watching so we can say hi. Steve, also, another part of your mission there at Mission Wisconsin is the employer side of the house. As you said in the very beginning, your mission is to connect the military community to the opportunities at these employers. So tell us about, if I am an employer and I'm interested in connecting to that talent pipeline, how do I get involved? What do I do?
So you go to mission-wisconsin.com. You fill out the employer form. We have 3 tiers of services that we provide to employers, and we feel our sourcing piece is the most entry level of those tiers. And what you get from there is you get to attend every Hiring Our Heroes Career Summit that Mission Wisconsin attends without attending. So what we do is we go and we talk to the transitioning service member spouses and the folks that attend the career summits with Hiring Our Heroes, and we put those into our talent pipeline. We provide career transition coaching for them, but then the companies that sign up at that level can source the talent directly from there. So you're getting access to that kind of talent without the cost of travel. The really good part is, if you're a company that wants to engage, that the candidate is taken care of, which better leads to retention. Because even after the hire, we continue to work with the candidate to make sure that they're, connecting with housing, educational opportunities, their spouse is connecting, like resume review, whatever it is that they want to do. We help them through that transition, and oftentimes after. And then we also provide a consulting piece on top of that, where we help companies. The thing about the military community is that there are so many things that you just want to tell people that they can do better. But we've learned that if I go in and I talk to a company and I tell them what I think they can do better, oftentimes I'm giving them an answer to a question that they haven't even asked yet. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we sit down with companies that want to engage us on the consulting level, and we talk about what their goals and objectives are for the next year, how we can work with them to reach that in relationship to military or spouse engagement. And then, at the very top level, what we'll do is we'll work with, any company's marketing department to develop a military brand and a message that resonates with the military community, is authentic, and then we will take that with us, where we represent that company at those career summits.
Okay, so it's like they get to travel vicariously through you.
They get all the benefits of the travel without any of the risk.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And if if it's me, I'm super introverted and I'm thinking, wow, anything not to go to a conference, please sign me up.
I don't think you're super introverted.
Well, I am a closet introvert, so I'm super well spoken and I can have a conversation with the best of anyone. But then at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. So conferences are not my best place. But anyway, I did meet you at a conference, so that goes to say something. So
yeah.
Well, so as we get ready to close out here, Steve, you've got amazing, amazing service offerings to offer the military community. Before they ever even come to you for help and for assistance, what advice might you have for a military community member, be it a transitioning service member, veteran, military spouse, or dependent? What advice do you have for them?
First, check out Wisconsin, the place where you want to go. We do have great employers here that we truly understand. But really, identify where you want to be a year from now, 6 months from now, 6 days from now. And then ask yourself, what steps are you taking today that are going to make you successful then? Right? So how are you stacking? Like, how are you building small things each day into the place you want to be a year from now? Transition oftentimes feels like this thing that is happening. You know, kind of like when you talk about the universe, you can't really comprehend it, but you know it's there. So, you know, some of the best advice I give is to say, I'm going to do one thing every day that puts me in transition, right? Whether it's 5 minutes on Indeed, 10 minutes on LinkedIn, whatever it is, but it's not just scrolling through the feed and, liking Jamie's posts because they're really good and watching this video. It's actually practical application. So part of it is taking that 5 or 10 minutes every day and thinking about, what do I want to do when I grow up? Now, I still haven't answered that, but I'm working towards it, I think. And understanding that might not be the thing that you're going to do in 6 months, but if you're not working towards something, then you're just wasting time.
Right. And, careers change every 3 to 4 years is the average amount of time that people leave one job and go to another job. So that's not, you got to work towards something. Otherwise, you're going to end up one of those unemployed veterans that can't find a job after you separate because you were not focused during your transition. So everybody, Steve is awesome. I put a link to Mission Wisconsin in the description of this video, so you can go to his website and check it out. It's super easy. If you're a military community member and you want to sign up for services, you just push the button that says, transitioning service members and military spouses, push this button. And then you go in there and do the whole thing. So Steve is a wonderful person to connect with. I encourage you all to reach out to him, say hello. And then again, if you have questions, we're happy to answer them after the video as well. Thank you, Steve, for your time today.
Jimmy, thank you. And my parting thought for everyone is, we talk about networks and we talk about resources. But the thing that we have to remember is your network is only as good as the questions you ask it. So if you aren't leveraging the network that you've built to help you, then you don't have a network. You just have a bunch of people on social media that have said yes. So ask them questions. That's why they're there.
That's awesome. And Steve knows everybody. So if you want a little bit of help networking, you maybe go sign up for Mission Wisconsin and ask him for some help and some tips and pointers. And Steve, appreciate you. Semper Wisconsin. And we'll bring you on again next time in the new year.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jamie. I appreciate you.
All right.